So how do we actually get good at something? Whether you're learning an instrument, a new language, or even just a video game, there's a real biological process happening inside your head. Today, we're going to break down the actual science of getting skilled.
We've all heard it a million times, right? Practice makes perfect. It's simple, it's catchy, but what if it's not the whole story? What if it's only like 1/3 of the truth? It turns out practice is just the starting pistol in a 3-part race. So what are the other 2 secret ingredients? Well, before we can even get to those other 2 parts, we have to start with the foundation. This is the fundamental rule of learning in our brains. It's the blueprint that makes all that hard work, all that practice, actually do something.
And that rule is called Hebbian theory. It's an idea from way back in 1949, and it's so beautifully simple. All it says is that when one brain cell helps another one fire over and over, the connection between them gets stronger. That's it. That's the why behind practice.
The whole theory gets boiled down into this awesome, memorable phrase: neurons that fire together, wire together. Every single time you practice a guitar chord or swing a tennis racket, you are physically reinforcing a specific circuit in your brain. You're literally building that skill into your wiring.
Okay, so if firing together is the blueprint, what's the actual construction process like? I mean, how does your brain take some weak, flimsy connection and turn it into a high-speed superhighway for a skill? Let's take a look at how that pathway gets built.
To figure this out, scientists designed a really clever experiment. They gave mice a genuinely tough new motor skill to learn, something they'd never done before, and then they watched what was happening inside their brains while they practiced.
And this was no ordinary running wheel. Just look at those rungs. They're all spaced out irregularly. For a mouse, this is a huge coordination challenge. They can't just zone out and run. They have to actively learn a brand new, complex pattern to get good at it.
And, they did. With some practice, they got the hang of it. But the real million-dollar question for the scientists was, what was physically changing inside their brains that was letting them improve? What was going on in there?
The answer, it turns out, is this amazing process called myelination. Think of it like this. When you first learn something, that neural pathway is like a slow, bumpy dirt road. Practice is the signal that calls in a paving crew of special cells, and they come and wrap that pathway with this fatty insulation called myelin. That myelin turns the dirt road into a freshly paved superhighway, letting the signal fly down it way faster and more efficiently.
And you can literally see the proof right here. On the left, that's the brain of a normal mouse that was learning the wheel. See all those bright spots? Those are the new myelin-making cells, the brain's paving crew, getting to work. Now look at the right. That's a mouse that was genetically blocked from making new myelin. The difference is just wow. You can see there's way less construction going on. This is the physical change that practice kicks off.
So, did this actually make a difference in how well they could run? Oh yeah, big time. This chart tells the whole story. The control mice, the ones that could build that myelin insulation, they got way better on the wheel. But the altered mice, the ones who couldn't pave their neural highways, they just couldn't master the skill. This shows that practice starts the fire, but it's myelination that turns it into a rocket engine.
Okay, so we're 2/3 of the way there. Practice lays down the blueprint. Myelination paves the highway. But here's the twist. It turns out the most important construction work, the part that really makes the skill stick, happens when you're not practicing at all.
And that brings us to the third and maybe the most overlooked part of the whole puzzle: sleep. See, sleep isn't just your brain shutting down. No way. It's an active, super organized state. It's like a dedicated overnight shift where your brain works hard to consolidate everything you learned that day. To see why sleep is so critical, just look at how a skill memory gets locked in. First, you have acquisition. That's you, practicing, creating this new kind of fragile memory. Then comes the most important stage, consolidation. This is where your brain takes that fragile memory and makes it strong and stable. And guess what? A huge chunk of that work happens while you're asleep. It's only after that consolidation that you can easily recall the skill and actually perform it better the next day.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to what the leading sleep expert Dr. Matthew P. Walker says. The human brain continues to learn in the absence of further practice. This delayed improvement develops during sleep. Just think about that for a second. You are literally getting better at stuff while you are passed out. How cool is that? So it is definitely time for an upgrade.
The science is totally clear. Getting really good at something isn't just about practice. It's a three-part formula. You need the practice, you need the myelination that follows, and you absolutely need the sleep to lock it all in.
Let's just put this all together, side by side. The old saying was practice makes perfect, but the new science gives us a much richer, much more accurate picture. Practice kicks off the learning, myelination makes it fast and efficient, and sleep is what makes it permanent. You need all three. You can't skip a step.
So the huge takeaway here is that mastery is not about brute force. It's not just about the number of hours you grind away. It's just as much about what your brain does after you're done. All those crucial biological jobs it's doing while you're resting.
So the next time you're trying to learn something new, remember the real formula. Put in that focused practice for sure, but then give your brain the quality sleep it needs to do its thing and wire it all together. The only question is, now that you know the secret, what are you going to master next?